Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro and Cornelia Funke. Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro and Cornelia Funke follows a young girl named Ophelia in war-torn Spain in 1944. She and her pregnant mother are traveling to a mill in the countryside to meet with her mother's new husband, an evil captain who has no love for his new stepdaughter. Reading books of fairy tales is Ophelia's only way to escape the horrors of the war and the dangers of her stepfather. Then, one day, Ophelia takes an adventure into the mysterious labyrinth near the mill where she meets a faun who tells her she is a lost princess. And in order to return to her realm, she must complete 3 tests to prove her worth. Pan's Labyrinth is a story about one girl's bravery and determination as she slips between the worlds of reality and imagination. I am a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro's movie, Pan's Labyrinth. I remember just going to the theater, not quite sure what to expect, and the movie was just utterly captivating and beautifully directed, and the visuals were stunning, and yeah, the themes and messages of the movie were gripping, and I love the characters, I love the story, and it was just such an experience. You know, it was such a movie experience. If you've never seen Pan's Labyrinth, I think you are truly missing out. I think a lot of people are afraid to watch it because they find out that it's entirely in Spanish, and yeah, there's subtitles. The movie is done entirely in subtitles, and that scares a lot of people when they find out that something has subtitles. But this is the movie is such a beautiful story. I highly recommend the movie if you've not read it. I highly recommend the movie if you've not watched it yet. But yeah, as for the book, the reading experience, that's what this book is, essentially. This is just a novelization of the movie told by Cornelia Funke, taking Guillermo del Toro's script and kind of enhancing it in her own manner. And seriously, did anybody else know about this book coming out this year? I walked into my local Barnes & Noble, and like right there on the front shelf was this book, and I was like, wait, what is that? I had no idea this was even coming out, so I barely even looked at it. I kind of picked it up and just stuck it in my basket, and I took off with it. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna read this. So before I do head into my actual review of the book, let's talk about just the overall look and design of this book. This book it's like a must. If you love and appreciate the movie, this book is like a collector's item, if you will. So yeah, I'm going to do some close-ups here. This is the cover. This is a gorgeous cover. It's done in like this really shiny flare here, and it's done in mostly like blue scale and black and white and gray, but mostly kind of this blue color. And yeah, the whole book is like that, in those shades of blue, black, white, and gray. And then when you open up the book, underneath the flap here, you have this beautiful illustration of the faun. If you guys can see that, I'm not sure how much glare is coming on there, but yeah, a beautiful image of the faun there. And then, yeah, the back of the book, once you flip up the flap at the back of the book, you have this gorgeous illustration back here of the leading character, Ophelia, holding a book. And it is, I love the detail going on even underneath the flap, you guys. And then the inside of the book, let's see, what you have on the inside of the book, the entire book is done this way. You guys, every single page is done like this. It's not just the title page or the chapter page. Every single page has this design of these trees on the left and the right of the pages. Yeah, even the chapter headings are gorgeously done. And then throughout the book, kind of in between the chapters and whatnot, let me see if I can find something here. Yeah, in between some of the chapters you have full page illustrations like this. Like this one is an image of Ophelia and the faun in a tree here. So yeah, there's just gorgeous illustrations from beginning to end of this whole book. And I think, like I said, if you're a fan of the movie, this is like a must. This is like a collector's item. And yet every detail just kind of went into this book to kind of make it a truly remarkable experience as you're reading, to kind of enhance your reading experience, I think. So I do want to start with my positives about this book, because I do have some negatives, unfortunately, with the book. But as far as positives, this book is pretty much word for word what you get with the movie. If you loved the story of the movie, I mean, that's what you're getting with this book. There's nothing left out or omitted, I don't think. It's pretty much word for word, all the dialogue and whatnot, scene for scene. And I still continue to love all these characters. You know, I love the bravery and determination of this little girl, Ophelia. I continue to just really feel such passion for her and her journey. I continue to despise her stepfather, Captain Vidal. I continue to despise him and to loathe him. He's such a despicable character. I continue to love the character of Mercedes, who is kind of off on her own thing, trying to help a rebellion movement. I loved her journey. And even though I've seen the movie, I still felt, you know, that uncertainty about the Fawn, the character of the Fawn. You know, like, who is this guy? What is he after? What's his motives? You know, the book still does a good job of kind of, you know, giving you those questions, even though you've seen the movie. It's like, where is he at exactly? What is his true intent and purpose? And I think what this book did possibly a little better than what the movie might have done, unless I'm just not recalling the movie that well, because it has been quite a number of years since I last saw the movie. I do feel like this book gave a little bit better explanation about how Ophelia's mother met Captain Vidal, how they met, what happened to Ophelia's father, kind of giving a bit more backstory about Captain Vidal and why he's the type of man that he is and whatnot. He has some daddy issues, essentially. I felt like this book did explore some backstory a little bit better compared to the movie. And as an additional bonus to this book, not only do you get the movie pretty much, in between every so often, in between some of the chapters, Cornelia Funke tells like an additional type of story, a story that almost reads like a traditional fairy tale, but like a dark, twisted fairy tale. You get origins of characters like the Fawn. You get an origin of the Lost Princess. You get an origin of the creepy man, you know, the guy with the hands and he has the eyes. I think he's called the Pale Man. Yeah, you get like an origin to that creepy dude and everything. Even the Toad, there's like a backstory and origin to the Toad. Yeah, Cornelia Funke takes the time to kind of give this dark, twisted fairy tale aspect to some of these origin stories, to some of these people and characters. And I really love that. And yeah, this whole book, I mean, it's very much like the movie. The movie is kind of a dark, twisted fairy tale. It has fairy tale elements, but things are kind of subverted in some ways, because it's almost like Cinderella. Almost Ophelia is almost like Cinderella. Her stepfather is almost like the evil stepmother. It's like you have these traditional trappings of a classical fairy tale, but things are kind of slightly turned around a little bit more and a little more darker and twisted. And yeah, instead of a love story between a prince and a princess like Cinderella and her prince, yeah, you have Ophelia. She's not a princess, but the Fawn claims that she's a princess. And yes, she doesn't have a love story with any sort of male character. Her love story is with her mother and her unborn brother, and yeah, her father who is dead and whatnot. So yeah, that's where the love story is. So yeah, these elements of a fairy tale, but kind of twisted in a different way. And yeah, this whole book, and especially with those chapters with more fairy tale elements, you know, the origin story of certain characters, yeah, this book does read almost like a traditional grim story almost. And like I mentioned, I do have some negatives with this book, unfortunately. Something that this book suffered from, you know, when you're watching Guillermo del Toro's movie, the movie is visually captivating. You have these vibrant colors, things are kind of positioned in a certain way, things are done in a way that you can read into maybe symbolically or metaphorically. With a book, unfortunately, the book doesn't capture the visual essence and the visual style of Guillermo del Toro. You know what I mean? Because when you go watch a Guillermo del Toro movie, you know you are watching one of his movies, because he just has a certain type of unique style and flair that he has in his movies, and you instantly know you're watching one of his movies. So yeah, this book, unfortunately, Cornelia Funke couldn't really capture that, you know, she couldn't capture that visual essence and present that Guillermo del Toro has. So yeah, some chapters kind of suffer from that, you know, especially the creepy guy with the eyes, the creepy guy with the hand eyes. Like, that scene in particular kind of suffers because it's such a visually captivating scene, and the colors are so interesting, and the way everything is laid out is so interesting, and it didn't feel as creepy or chilling, you know, it didn't have that same flair of creepiness to it. So the book kind of suffers in some areas that the movie definitely, you know, did better, for sure. I guess what I'm trying to say is that some of the scenes lose their impact, if that makes sense. Some of the scenes lose an impact that you're supposed to be feeling emotionally, I suppose. And my other complaint with this book, with the movie, you're left unsure about certain things, and you're left making your own decision about certain things. Because, for instance, the way I watched the movie, I took a lot of things, like, metaphorically, if you will. Ophelia, she's in war-torn Spain, she's living with this horrible man who's her stepfather, her mother is ill, her father is dead, and I always kind of read the movie as Ophelia, you know, when she would read her books, that she was trying to escape from her stepfather, trying to escape from the war. And yeah, that events around her, all these weird, crazy things going on around her, the fawn, the creepy hand-eye guy, you know, all these creepy things going on around her. And kind of this notion that maybe she's a lost princess from some other realm. I read a lot of stuff as kind of like a fantasy, like her trying to escape from the war, and this was her way of escaping. Like, I read the movie as that none of it was really to be taken literal, if that makes sense. That a lot of what was going on was more of a metaphor or a symbol for the horrors and the trauma going on inside her head. And I mean, you can read the movie how you want. You can either read the movie how I read it, or you can read it completely differently, I suppose. And yeah, that's kind of the problem I had with this book also, is that Cornelia Funke, she interprets everything really literally. You know, that everything going on is reality. Ophelia is really meeting the fawn. She's really meeting the creepy hand-eye guy. Everything going on around her is for real, and it's reality, and it's really happening to her. And I kind of didn't like that. I like Guillermo del Toro. I like him that it's vague. I like that the movie is vague, and you're not quite sure what's reality and what's just her imagination. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that this book, it read very black and white, if you will, whereas Guillermo del Toro, his movie is more gray. You're not quite sure what's going on. But yeah, other than my few little minor complaints with this book, I still thoroughly enjoyed this book. Like I said, it's pretty much word for word of what you get with the movie, and I really love that, and I definitely really recommend this if you love the movie. It's definitely a collector's item. So you guys, that's it for my review of Pan's Labyrinth. In the comments below, have you guys read this book? Do you plan on reading it? How much do you love the movie? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.